Hi, I'm Nicholas Michael McGovern,
Hi, I'm Philip White.
listening to the Horror Squad podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Horror Squad podcast. This is episode number 305, where tonight we are going to be talking about Eli Roth's Thanksgiving. Also, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. We hope you're having a great Thanksgiving out there. Putting in your headphones, listening to us instead of listening to your annoying relatives at the dinner table. I am here, of course, as always, with Todd and Steve. Gentlemen, how are we doing this week?
Hello, fine, getting ready to eat.
Yeah, fine. I mean, not Thanksgiving for me, so just a regular Thursday.
That's
But
right.
it is what it is.
Yes. Well, happy Thursday to you, Steve.
You got
Of
Boxing
course.
Day the next day, don't you?
No, that's after Christmas. It's December
Yeah,
26th.
get it right,
I
Todd.
mean,
Which
I
is
was
like
trying to be
like our
inclusive,
Black
but
Friday.
sorry.
But Steve, I know we got an interview this week, right?
We do. So it's the writer, director, and star of the movie Liberty, which is a movie I talked about on What Watch last week. So if you want to hear my review for that, just check out last week's episode. So the writer-director's name is Phil DeWitt, and the star is Nicholas Michael McGovern. The movie is out now on digital/VOD. So please check it out and check out the interview at the end of the episode.
Excellent, excellent.
So you guys got any big plans for the big day or weekend or however it works with you guys?
Not really. I'm going over to my family's house, and then I don't know. Salem has a tree lighting on Friday, so we might do that. Now it's Christmas time. Thanksgiving's over. Now it's time to do that this weekend. Maybe looking, see if there's any good horror Friday, Black Friday deals. There's always something kind of pops up, so I'll keep an eye on that. Hopefully, something good comes about.
Yeah, for the physical media collectors, Vinegar Syndrome always does a really big Black Friday sale, so you can check out that. That usually they go live at like midnight or whatever, so check that out. As far as Thanksgiving goes, nothing. Just staying home, making food, looking forward to some chicken and some sweet potatoes and some mashed potatoes and some gravy, some Hawaiian rolls. Let's do it all. Some pumpkin pie. Just a time for feast.
I'm expecting a full food review on next week's episode, and don't skim on the details because it's always some good stuff on Thanksgiving. And do you guys miss like the classic Black Friday, like we get a little bit of in this movie? Do you miss like actually physically going into stores and checking out the deals rather than just sitting in your underwear stuffed from all the turkey from the night before and checking out deals online?
Personally, no. I used to like the chaos of it all on Black Friday. However, the problem is that it no longer was Black Friday and you had to go out at like 6 o'clock Thanksgiving night, which no, I'm not doing that. Like I want to just chill on my couch in my turkey coma and my like after dessert and just have a few drinks, watch football or just watch a movie like with the family and just relax. Like I do not want to fucking go out to, the big box stores at 7, 8 o'clock at night and deal with people on Thanksgiving night. I was all for it when it was actually Black Friday. Like I was willing to get up at, 6, 7 in the morning the next day and go through some of that. And it was kind of fun. But now the older I get, absolutely not. I'm good with just sticking online.
Yeah, man, online you can get all store shopping done within like 30 minutes opposed to, the fucking traffic and the people being rude. And it's like not even that big of a deal. Like if you think about it, you'll see a lot of stuff like, for example, on Amazon, oh, a 4K is on sale for half off, but they put it back up to the manufacturing price, which is like 35.99. So now you're getting half off, which is the standard price throughout the year. So like people see these like savings and it's like, it's not really savings unless you're trying to get like buy two get one free for your truck tires or something. That's the deal. But like, no, it's no thanks. I'll stay away from the stores.
I kind of miss the videos though. We don't get the crazy videos like we used to in the like mid 2000s to early 2010s. But I feel they've been replaced by people trying to fry turkeys now. That's like the new Thanksgiving tradition of people like almost burning down their houses and killing their entire family with fried turkey. So please, if you're frying turkey, for fuck's sake,
I've never had. I've never indulged in the fried turkey. Is anyone here?
No, it just looks way
Sounds-
too risky for like the little. Like, is it that much better where you're risking your life and
fried
your
food,
family?
fried foods, man. Come on, you answered the question already.
I don't know,
Um,
like maybe like regular fried food, but something you have to have a pot outside, and it's like fuck that
Monitor
shit.
it. I
Yeah,
guess it's along the same lines as smoking. If you like smoking meats, you're gonna do the commitment of
right.
10 hours, whatever it is. But do I really want to get into a Todd tangent on frying foods? Yes, I do. Okay, so if there's a giant, okay, so what's one thing they teach you in cooking, right? Even basic stuff is oil and water do not mix. So you cannot put a frozen turkey into a 5-gallon bucket of boiling oil. What's gonna happen? It's gonna fucking explode, and there's your fire. So like, it's like that's where all the shit's coming from. Is people that don't understand like the basic. I
Yeah,
don't know. And
not to
then they add
mention
water to it. It's like, come on.
not to mention people like fail to understand that the turkey represents mass. So
12
you can't
pounds of
just
mass.
fucking fill the whole fucking thing of oil and expect the oil to stay there as the turkey goes in.
Yeah,
It's really a sight to behold how stupid
it.
people are.
And the solution is to spray it with the garden hose, which just spreads the fire.
All right. Yeah.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. All right, you guys ready to get into some horror news this week?
Yes, sir.
Sure.
And now here's Joe with the news.
All righty, thank you, Chuck. And here we go. This is your cup of Joe for the week. Let's start off with Beetlejuice update. I can confirm that Beetlejuice 2 is filming because they were literally filming 2 towns over from me this week. Jenna Ortega and Tim Burton was spotted in Melrose, Massachusetts, filming what I suppose is the last couple scenes, because from what Tim Burton had said before the strikes was that they were 99% done. So they just wrapped filming yesterday in Melrose. Also, the big leak, of course, that came online was the supposed first image of Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice. Have you guys seen this photo? Thoughts?
Yes, you sent it to us. So
He just said he's giving you a softball to hit a home run with Steve.
I know.
Come on. Yeah, like I mean, shoot. Yeah, let's watch the movie.
I mean, it's not like it's a big revealing picture. You know, you see kind of half his face behind someone else with a needle in his hand. So, I mean, it looks like an older Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice. You know, I don't know what else to expect from that.
I think Steve mentioned this a while ago, but I can't stop thinking about it every time I see Beetlejuice stuff. Is that it'd be so friggin' funny if the first scene was Beetlejuice in the waiting room and he gets called on for like his what was it like 1 million place in line or something like that.
There's no other beginning of the
He's
film
so
that would
funny.
be acceptable to me. Like that would be the what would make the most sense, right? And then whoever is the counselor that takes him just like blows his head back up because it's still small from the last movie. And yeah.
Well, we shall see. Beetlejuice will be coming maybe next year, maybe 2025. I guess it really depends how it's going to work. But I think they are slating it for 2024, so we shall see. Another update is the newest Ghostbusters movie. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire finally released their trailer. The movie will be releasing on March 29th, 2024. I assume you both watched the trailer, so I'd love to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I saw it in theaters like 3 times already. And this was my most anticipated film for this year. But of course, it got pushed back to next year. So it will be my most anticipated film next year now. And I like what I see so far. I mean, it doesn't show a hell of a lot. Just shows New York City being frozen over during like, you know, early July. It does show that there are all the returning Ghostbusters, you know, the ones that are alive, of course. So that's really cool. As to what capacity, I guess we'll see. I expect there'll be more like extended cameos, like longer than they were in Afterlife, but not full-fledged like, you know, members of the cast. And I'm digging what I'm seeing so far. So bring it on.
Todd, you haven't seen it yet?
And I just watched it as Steve was speaking. And yeah, I'm excited for it because Afterlife is really good. So hopefully it's
Yeah.
good too.
Agreed. Loved Afterlife. Obviously, is fantastic, and this one looks like it looks fun too. Love to see that the Ghostbusters are returning. I'm assuming, and I feel like this might be the last time we see them. This could be a passing of the baton movie, and I'm okay with that. You know, let's kind of send them out to pasture. You know, they're old men now. We don't need to keep seeing them. It's great to see them, but I don't know if we need to continuously see them in the background. Let's start maybe a new franchise with this new cast. So we shall see. All right, a little update now on Salem's Lot. Of course, there is going to be a remake coming of Stephen King's Salem's Lot. The original plan this whole time, from what we thought, was that this movie was going to be hitting theaters. Well, apparently that may not be happening anymore, as the studio recently came out and said, Warner Brothers spokesperson came out and said, no decision has officially been made about the film's distribution plans yet, but with the ongoing strike has created a need for Max content. So it seems like most likely Salem's Lot will be heading to Max, of course, which was formerly known as HBO Max. So it seems like it will be heading to that platform instead. So is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing?
It's a good thing because we don't have to pay for it.
Good thing for us, but it also, to me, shows that maybe they don't have as much confidence in the film in theaters as maybe they once thought.
I mean, think of it this way, right? Five Nights at Freddy's just passed the biggest horror film of the year, and it was released the same day on Peacock. So
same day.
That doesn't necessarily mean that they don't have confidence in it, I think.
It still made 100 million in theaters.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
Right. I mean, so you don't put it in theaters, you're taking that money stream away from it, So we'll see. I didn't like the original as that much, so I'm hoping this one will be better. All right, a little update as well on Welcome to Derry. Of course, the It TV series that is going to be hitting HBO. It has now been pushed, of course, to 2025. No surprise, it was supposed to come out this October. Most likely will be next October now, due to the no longer ongoing strike. The strike is now over, which I don't even know if we've talked about. So we will update you on that. Have you guys seen the movie Fall?
Yes, it's the one on the tower, right?
The tower.
Yes, I did.
Well, what if I told you, are you ready for two more? As it has officially been announced that Fall 2 and Fall 3 are coming.
Keep falling and you'll never fall again.
You know what? I kind of believe it because I know some YouTuber is going to watch that and in universe, watch what happened and be like, I could do that. And there you have Fall 2, someone going on a similar tower. It wouldn't be the same tower unless they rebuilt it. So we'll see. I like Fall though. It's like a fun single location movie. If you're going to watch one, it's I guess one of the better ones, but I don't know, Fall 2 and 3. Kind of the same thing over and over, if you ask me.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it. Is it worth a watch, Steve?
I mean, I wouldn't go out of my way to watch it, but if you happen to see it streaming somewhere, there's worse films to watch out there, that's for sure. If you like stuff like Frozen or Buried or things like that, then you would dig it.
Okay, cool. All right, next bit of news here is an update on Fear Street, of course, Netflix's hit series from last year. What is the future of that? Well, we currently had an update from the head of Netflix Film. He said, obviously, there's a lot of books. There's one standalone movie that we're currently working on right now. We're once again trying to get the script right, but I like it very much, and so does the team. So I feel like we can get that script right with a great, which would make it for a great extension of that franchise. So definitely at least one standalone movie for now. More coming, apparently. So, I mean, do you guys want more Fear Street? I mean, I really like the trilogy we just got.
Yeah, I mean, sure. It's like,
it's okay.
I'm not like super excited about it, but I'd watch it. So that's saying something, I guess.
Okay. All right. And last bit of news here I have tonight is Jordan Peele will be remaking, his production company, anyway, will be remaking The People Under the Stairs, a movie we just talked about recently during our Wes Craven retrospective. It does not appear that Jordan Peele will be directing this one. It looks like he will just be producing this one, but I'm excited. I think it's in good hands, obviously, with Monkey Paw Productions taking this one over. The movie, obviously, like we talked about, had a lot of great political commentary, which is what Peele kind of does best with his horror. So, yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. When we talked about the film on that episode, we kind of mentioned that it would have been good if they kind of focus on the people under stairs a little bit more. So I mean, hopefully they kind of right some of the wrongs that the movie had. But yeah, I guess if it's tough to say, George, when it's produced by someone, like how much involvement do they actually have? You see all the time. Like when I went to see Thanksgiving yesterday, there's something produced by James Wan, but like how much weight does that hold really? Like how much stuff does he put his name on? Eli Roth, actually today's director, is a perfect example. I think he's produced more stuff than he's actually directed or written. So I don't know. It's just one of those things.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, he did produce Candyman, which was very good.
Decent, yeah.
So we shall see. All right. Actually, I got one more for you guys tonight because it is, of course, Thanksgiving. I figured why not give you guys some movies you can watch tonight after your little turkey coma. So here are 5 Thanksgiving horror movies you can stream for free. Number 1, Blood Rage. Of course, everyone's probably favorite Thanksgiving horror movie. Currently, you can check it out over on Night Flight, which I've never heard of, but there you go. There's one you can check
Fuck is
out.
Night Flight?
I don't know, but I'm assuming it's a free app, like sort of like Pluto TV or something. Also, Escape Room. Now, you're going to tell me Escape Room's a Thanksgiving horror movie? Apparently it is, as the movie, I don't remember this, takes place during their Thanksgiving break. It is apparently mentioned at some point. So there you go. You can currently check out Escape Room for those of you who have FX Now or Hulu. Number 3, Christie. Another very kind of an underrated, I think, Thanksgiving horror movie. That one you can currently watch over on Pluto TV, Tubi, and Vudu. And also here's one I don't think I've ever seen. We Are What We Are. That one you can currently watch on Pluto TV and Tubi as well. Have either of you guys seen that one?
No. I like Christie a lot though.
Yeah, we are what we are. After the tragic passing of their mother, daughters Iris and Rose are forced to assume her responsibilities and religious duties. So there you go, for those of you who might be interested in that. And then finally, of course, this one's a bit of a cheat, but I think it's a family at their dinner table. You're Next, currently streaming over on Max. So there you go. 5 Thanksgiving-themed horror movies you can watch tonight.
So would Texas Chainsaw Massacre then be a Thanksgiving film because they have a dinner table scene with their family?
Yes, it would.
Good to know. What watched?
Yes, gentlemen. Who wants to start off what we've been watching this week?
Yeah, I'll go. All right. So my first one is a 2023 film that I watched over on Shudder. I believe Joe talked about it maybe last episode or the one before. It is Hell House LLC Origins, The Carmichael Manor. This is the 4th film in the Hell House LLC franchise. It takes place after, I thought it was a prequel originally, Origins, but it's actually a sequel to the 3 films. It's a documentary about people who are filming kind of a documentary who go to this place called the Carmichael Manor, and they investigate a ghost that is haunting that place. So they kind of Airbnb kind of the house for 5 days, and the guy who owns it is like, you're not going to last 5 days, but whatever, you can try if you'd like. So these 3 people kind of investigate what's going on in the house. Things start happening. Of course, there's some ghost activity. There are some things that tie into the Abaddon Hotel, which is the setting of the first 3 films, and there's some pretty cool found footage scares from there. So this is, in my opinion, maybe the second best of the Hell House franchise. I liked that they went outside of the Abaddon Hotel because I feel that all the stories that could have been told in that hotel have kind of been told at this point. And by number 3, they're already stretching it a little bit too far, in my opinion. So having this house was pretty cool. There are some really good scares in it. Some of the clowns, if you're familiar with the franchise, make an appearance, and a bunch of other ghosty type things. So I like that. My issue with it is that some of the situations in the film were a bit ridiculous, and I feel like the characters, had they just made better decisions, would have easily kind of gotten out of the house and been away from all this trouble. Some of the ghosts felt a little cheap to me as well. Maybe, I don't know if they were CGI or not, but they didn't look good, whether it's the makeup or the CGI that they put on them. But still, I think this is a breath of fresh air for this franchise. I can see them continuing the franchise. In fact, they tease something that's actually pretty exciting for the 5th one. So if you like Hell House, I would recommend it. If you like found footage, I would recommend it. But just don't go in expecting, I guess, too much. So I gave it 3.5 stars out of 5 over on Letterboxd.
Cool. All right. My first one is a 2023 title called Suitable Flesh, directed by Joe Lynch, who did Mayhem with Stephen Yeun. Anyway, it stars Heather Graham and Barbara Crampton and Judah Lewis, that kid from The Babysitter. It's kind of got like a little bigger following as of late. But anyway, so basically this kid, he goes to Heather Graham, who's like a psychiatrist. He's like, you gotta help me, like he wants my body. And you're like, wants my body? He's like, this is like a weird sexual kind of abuse thing. It's like, it's my dad, he wants my body. I'm like, what the hell? So it turns out that there is like this kind of, I don't know, like a demon or like some kind of force or whatever that hops from body to body, and he doesn't always get full control. It takes him a few times to get it, and if he gets it by the first, like the last one, let's say it takes 3 times, right? Third time, then the character is like locked forever. So he's like, you gotta help me. If he gets it one more time, I'm dead. This was developed by Stuart Gordon, and before he passed, so there's a lot of Stuart Gordon touches on this. It feels a lot like kind of that style that he had. And this movie is full of sex. Like Heather Graham gets railed like 4 times in it. The problem with it though is that it's so goofy and poorly shot and edited. It was just it was a shame because it's like you have these, beautiful women, beautiful characters, whatever, and then you have like this sexy saxophone playing loud as hell over all the sex scenes. Like, are we watching 1979's porn, or are we watching a 2023 horror movie? It's really weird. Like we have lines like Heather Graham's like, she's trying to help the kids. So she's like, I want you to come with me. He's like, I want to come in you. And then they have sex. That was the point where he won her over. They didn't start banging. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So the score of the movie, it never stops. It goes on for 99% of the time. It's always something playing, which like, just let the movie cook. Let the characters do their thing. Heather Graham and Barbara Crampton do make out, which is a plus. 2 beautiful women. When the gore happens, it's really cool and it has some really good blood and all that stuff. But overall, I was just like, it was so like corny and campy for the wrong reasons that it took me out of it. I was on my phone a lot of the time. So that's Suitable Flesh, 2023, and I don't know. It's on VOD right now.
Speaking of Heather Graham, I just watched one of like the worst Christmas movies I've ever seen with her yesterday. It's like a new one on Netflix. It's called Best Christmas Ever, with her, Brandy, and
Oh.
Jason Biggs. So
Oh, okay.
it was, my goodness, it was quite
It
terrible.
was not the best Christmas
It was
ever.
not. I've seen better Hallmark Christmas movies than that one, so I would say skip that one for you Christmas movie lovers
I
out
had
there.
it on my list, but you know what? Thank you for
You're welcome.
telling me.
You're welcome. Non-horror related. I watched Fincher's new movie, The Killer. It was all right. It wasn't Fincher's best, but it was decent. But all right, let's get into horror. My first one tonight is a 2023 release called Totally Killer. You can check it out, I believe, streaming on Amazon Prime. This one stars Kiernan Shipka, who you might know from the Sabrina television series, most notably. This one is about a young girl who basically the town is kind of becomes famous from a serial killer 35 years ago known as the Sweet 16 Killer. Sweet 16 because he stabs all their victims 16 times. Basically, what happens here is there is a tragedy that befalls Kiernan Shipka's character, and she ends up in a time machine and goes back to 1987 when the original murders took place. And now her goal basically is to stop the killer to change the future. I mean, sound familiar? Like for those of you who maybe have seen Happy Death Day Part 2 and Freaky, it is like an exact replica of those two like scripts just melded together, which makes sense because it is Blumhouse. So I feel like they was just kind of lazy and they're like, hey, we can like combine these two and make something fun out of it. Overall, it was, it was fine. Like it was like a fun watch. I didn't hate watching it. I mean, clearly it's very teeny bopper. Like, I'm definitely not the intended audience for it. But if you are a fan of Happy Death Day, I think you'll probably most likely love this. I was never like a fan really of either one of them.
What
so
if I hated Happy Death Day?
Then you'll definitely hate this.
All right.
Yeah, I would think. I did like Freaky though. So I think it's a mixture between the two. So to me, it ends up like at a 3 out of 5 for me. Nothing I'll probably ever watch again. But I think I mean, there's definitely some fun to be had here with the setting. I love the 80s aesthetic is always fun. And a lot of it takes place at an abandoned amusement park, which I thought was cool as well. So yeah, I mean, a decent one-time watch, but nothing I would ever revisit. So that's totally killer.
Yeah, what I liked about that one was just seeing her reactions to things that happened in the 80s that don't happen anymore. It was just like a funny kind of observational humor of the
Yeah,
differences.
that was a good running joke throughout the movie. Yeah, like, guys would be saying inappropriate. One guy, I think the whole thing started with a guy in the 80s, he had a shirt that said like boob inspector or something. And
Right.
he talks about like how problematic that shirt is,
Dude, we
and
we had that shit in the 2000s.
we
FBI
did. We
female
did.
booby
Female
inspector.
female body
Yeah.
inspector, I think. Yeah.
Hmm.
But it was funny, just like her kind of trying to school these people from the 80s on what is inappropriate in today's standard. And that was a good fun part of it.
Mm-hmm. All right, my second one this week is another 2023 film. I watched this one on VOD, and it's called It Lives Inside. So this is a story of an Indian American girl, and she's practicing like Hindu, and she goes to school and everything, and then she has a friend that she's kind of had a falling out with because she's becoming a little distant and weird, and she's starting to like get really dark. Like she dresses dark, she has bags under her eyes, and she carries around this jar everywhere and just kind of stands there and stares at people, and people are kind of creeped out by her. So she's distancing herself from that girl, but that girl eventually comes to her with the jar and's like, look, you're gonna be cursed and something's gonna happen. But she gets annoyed by it, so she smacks the jar out of her hand, which releases a demon, which then affects the girl from our story. And it's about the girl trying to get rid of the demon by using kind of Hindu religion, kind of like an exorcism, but from a Hindu perspective rather than a Catholic perspective. And that's basically the gist of the story, is her and a couple people trying to get together and release this demon from her. So I really like religious horror. I've said it multiple times in the past. And I especially really like religious horror that isn't necessarily like Christian, because there's so many Christian horror films that, I get my fill of that. So it's cool to see something like Jewish, like we did a couple of years ago. We have a couple Muslim ones. Well, this one was Hindu, so I thought that was really kind of a cool take that we don't get often. And it was like a decent film. The monster, like slash ghost or whatever, not my favorite. It's got like an okay design, but it was mostly CGI, and that kind of takes me away from a lot of the stuff that happens. The movie's PG-13, and I feel like they really pushed to get that PG-13 because there are a lot of opportunities where they can have some really awesome kills, and they didn't. They either have the kill happen off screen, or they cut right before the good part, or a bunch of like tricks to kind of keep the gore to a minimum, which I think this movie needed to be something like special. Overall, I'd say like I'm happy I watched it, but I probably wouldn't watch it again, and I wouldn't go out of my way to check it out. But if you like to see different cultures and kind of the cultural differences that Indian Americans have compared to other types of Americans, it's interesting. It is like, it's not a Indian film; it's an American film, just a different perspective that I really enjoy. So that's It Lives Inside. I gave 2.5 stars out of 5.
I started watching that one and the subtitles weren't working, so I had to turn it off. Because I think the mother spoke a lot.
Yeah, she speaks. She only speaks in.
Yeah, so I was like, I'll try again later. But I did finally watch Mad Heidi that you guys had excellent interviews for, which could be, it's honestly, spoiler alert, my favorite male actor of the year award, coming to Casper Van Dien for playing the real Swiss president. Man, this movie's fucking wild, man. And it's like, first of all, it's $1.99 on Amazon, so that's a steal. $2 for an hour and a half. That's gonna kick ass. Even if you don't like it, you're still gonna be entertained. But essentially, it's it's Nazis in Switzerland that their whole like spiel and stick or whatever is about cheese. That's all they do, right? So everyone's fucking cheese. If you go to prison, they test you, make sure you're not lactose intolerant by giving you like some cheese in your mouth, and you fucking literally like die. The Casper Van Dien, he's so fucking good in it. And the first time we see him, it's a cut to like the Swedish flag, I think, but it zooms out, and then it was underwear he was wearing. It was so funny. I was laughing the whole time, and the little puns were really good. The violence is fucking sick. Like whenever it hits, it's really cool. And if you, in my review on Letterboxd, I put like, if you watched Turbo Kid, completely different films, but I felt like the same kind of like wavelength of that Turbo Kid in this movie. So if you like Turbo Kid, you like this one, and vice versa. But Mad Heidi hits, man. My only problem with it, honestly, besides a couple jokes not working, is like I'm not totally convinced it's horror. I know the filmmakers labeled it as such, but I really got more of like a Kill Bill with more silliness than I do a horror film. But if it's labeled as such, then it'll definitely be considered for the list. So Mad Heidi, $1.99, Amazon Prime. Go check it out.
Yes. And plug, check out our interview with Casper Van Dien
Yeah.
and Matt Heidi herself, Alice Lucy, back, I don't know, 20 episodes ago or something like that, maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
You'll find it. You'll find it. I label all of our episodes with the interviews as well, so it'll be an easy find. All right, our my last one tonight, 2023 release once again. This one is called No One Will Save You. I watched this one based on Steve's recommendation. This one is a really interesting one. This one is an alien film, alien sci-fi watch. Basically, I mean, there's not much to it, honestly. It's about a girl who ends up being sort of attacked by aliens, but she's also dealing with being sort of excommunicated from her community due to a tragedy that happened when she was a child. So it mixes kind of that together with this alien invasion. The most interesting thing about this movie is that there is absolutely no dialogue whatsoever. I watch my movies with subtitles, and I shut the subtitles off because it was just like loud thud through and stuff like that. I was like, I don't need this. You figure out really quickly that there is going to be no dialogue in this movie. So obviously, it was a choice made by the filmmakers to do that, and I gotta say, for this movie, it works. It works like really well. It's not needed. The actress, she will rival, I think, maybe my favorite performance of the year for a female, because she gives, to be able to not have really any dialogue, but to be able to convey your emotions so well in the movie, it really is just a feat and impressive in of itself. So shout out to her. I'm not familiar with her, but I know she has been in quite a lot. Caitlin Dever, Booksmart, I believe, was kind of her breakout role from a couple years ago. So yeah, this is directed by Brian Duffield, who also did another horror movie, Spontaneous, which I believe you saw, Steve, a couple of years ago. So this is his second effort. I definitely want to go and check out Spontaneous now after watching this, because I feel like he is definitely a filmmaker to watch after watching this one. This movie was heading in the territory of being top 10, maybe even top 5 territory for me, because the aliens are awesome in this. Like, they're just like classic aliens, but man, like even them, like not really speaking. I mean, you hear them speak, but obviously not in their language. But man, like at times, like you're scared of them, but then at other times, like I felt like bad for them or sympathetic. Like it was like really interesting the way they were able to kind of put this all together. My biggest issue was the ending, man. Like the ending just did not land for me at all. And it kills it for me, because I was really loving this movie up until that last 5 minutes. And then it just didn't work for me. So it dropped it down considerably. It dropped it from being an excellent movie to just a good movie. So I ended up giving it a 3.5 out of 5. Maybe we'll make the tail end of my top 10 now. I definitely still recommend checking it out, though, because I do think it is a solid watch, but just disappointed that ending didn't stick.
Yeah, they fucked up with that ending. No doubt about it. All right, you guys ready for some trivia?
Yes, sir. So current trivia standings for quarter number 4 are Steve in the lead with 13, Joe second 11, me third 9. Overall for the year, we are standing at Joe 74, Steve 72, Todd, myself 71. It is a tight butthole of a race. Let's go. I got one.
Do it.
Music related from my
Next.
never to be released massive trivia book coming 2024 Christmas. What song plays as Angela dances during her seance in Night of the Demons 1988?
That would be Stigmata Martyr by Bauhaus.
100% correct. But give me it in the way they sing it.
Stigmata.
Excellent.
Mata.
Perfect. It's a great fucking song.
It is. All right, I'll go next. I'll just give you guys my theme already. Clearly,
King.
Thanksgiving. No,
Oh,
thanks.
okay.
I switched it up. I did have Stephen King trivia from last week, but with it being Thanksgiving, of course, I had to do Thanksgiving horror trivia. So it's limited. You guys will definitely have some guesses tonight. So let's go with the first one. This movie's alternative title is Nightmare at Shadow Woods.
Thanksgiving.
Incorrect.
Cabin Fever?
Incorrect. I'll give you one more guess because it has another alternative title. The other alternative title is Slasher.
Blood Rage.
Yes, that is correct. It
Oh,
is
good
Blood
job.
Rage.
I mean, we went through like pretty much the gamut of Thanksgiving horror.
Oh, wait. I had the theme wrong. You even told me Thanksgiving. For some reason, I was thinking Eli Roth.
Okay.
When I said Cabin Fever. All right.
Yeah, I was thinking too, like Cabin Fever.
The fuck is Cabin Fever?
I don't remember. You know, maybe it's one of those movies that takes place during
it's just
Thanksgiving.
me being stupid.
All right. First one tonight is Guess the Movie based off the IMDb Parental Guide.
Oh.
I do have a theme. Not going to tell you what it is. First one, sex and nudity.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Both of them.
A teen boy sits in an abandoned car, and upon hearing a noise, a teen girl raises her head from his lap, suggesting oral sex. No nudity is seen.
A Thanksgiving trailer by Eli Roth.
Wrong.
That
That
does
happens,
happen.
though. That
It does.
happens.
It does.
Blew my load too quick.
Yep.
Again.
Violence and gore. A man breaks another man's neck and then shoots a third man several times in the chest. Very graphic and bloody.
Okay.
Profanity. Hold your asses, boys.
Ooh.
Damn is used throughout the film.
Yes.
No.
Alcohol, drugs, and smoking. A woman talks about how her brother left home at age 14 and came back years later as an alcoholic.
As they do. As they do.
And finally, frightening and intense scenes. There's a scene with a man being buried alive.
Oh. It's not good. It's
all we got,
your
huh?
ball, Joe. It's your ball.
I got nothing.
No, the town that dreaded sundown.
No. And the answer was Uncle Sam,
Oh,
I don't remember any of that.
which we
it's been a while.
we reviewed on the podcast, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did.
Wasn't there some like
Interesting.
weird like pedophile shit in that movie that
Yeah,
we came across?
I omitted that. Like, I thought about
Yeah.
putting into my. It was both in sex and nudity and disturbing scenes.
Mm-hmm.
It's just because he like does stuff with his sister, but he wasn't a pedophile because they were both kids.
Okay.
It's still gross though. I
It's
didn't
still
want
weird. All right, incest. though.
I drew the line there. I'm
Still
like,
weird.
I'm not. Yeah.
All right, back to me.
Yes.
In World War Z 2013, how long does it take to turn into a zombie from the point of
Instantly.
infection?
So it's
Correct.
5 seconds.
Incorrect.
Incorrect.
Mhm.
No.
There's a scene where Brad Pitt counts off
Oh.
how long it takes, and he's like, "Okay, now I know."
I want one more guess after. Just
All right, you can get
30
one more.
seconds.
Incorrect. Steve.
I'm gonna go 24 seconds.
Incorrect. The answer is 12 seconds. 12
Oh.
seconds.
I mean, Steve was pretty close instantly,
Well,
but
there's
not.
no,
Yeah,
there's no
it's fine.
close in this.
There's no close.
No.
I
It's
agree.
it's too close to give.
I
It's too
agree.
close.
Was that with the doctor that he counts it in?
No, it's in the beginning where he's like on the roof and he's gonna kill himself
Oh,
because
okay.
he knows the 12 seconds from like the earlier scene.
Right.
Yeah. All right, underrated. I think it's pretty
All right. All right. Guess the movie based on the IMDb information.
cool. Okay.
This movie is from 2008,
Okay.
clocking in at 1 hour and 10 minutes. Directed by Jordan Downey. We have a cast of Wanda Lust. I
One of
don't
these
know if that's her
movies.
actual name, but you
Is
know.
it Poultry Guys?
No, Natasha Cordova, Lindsay Anderson, and Lance Predmore with the tagline, warning, boobs in the first second.
Um,
I can't answer because I already went. So
do you know that? Do you know it though, Steve?
no. I was gonna get another guess, but
Well then, shush. Is it Thanksgiving Day Massacre?
Incorrect. I'll give you guys one more
Okay.
guess.
I haven't seen it, so I don't know what year it came out. So Christy.
Incorrect.
I feel like it's like one of those we watched on the Three Guys days where it was like similar to like the stupid Easter Bunny kill movies that are like terrible.
I think Poultry Guys.
Bunny Man Massacre.
Yeah, but that's the one I was thinking of. That's
Yeah.
obviously Easter. I don't know. Poltergeist was a good guess.
Okay, well, I did. There was an alternative tagline that I did not use, and it was "Gobble Gobble, motherfucker." And the correct
Oh, that's
answer
tricky.
was "Thanks, killing."
Oh, damn it.
Son of a beach.
All right. Mine is also. Oh, wait, is it my turn? Yeah.
Yeah.
Guess the movie based off the IMDb Did You Know section.
Okay.
Trivia. This film belongs to the category Canucksploitation, aka Canadian low budget films.
Oh.
I thought you said the sex term.
No.
The cuck. I'm like, okay, we got cuck. Got it.
No, it's not cucksploitation. All right. Next one is Goofs. During one of the earlier murders, the killer is sporting false women's fingernails that later disappear in later scenes. An impossible act that a killer would have time to remove the fingernails and adhesive in midst of a real-time homicidal rampage. Okay. Crazy credits. The 20th Century Fox logo fanfare has been completely silenced. The soundtrack, Broken Man, written by Larry Cohen, performed by Crime. And because I thought they were a little tough, I'm adding another trivia, which should help considerably with the answer. The killer was played by Derek McKinnon, a Canadian Nova Scotia stage actor who appears in 11 scenes total throughout the movie. In each scene, he appears wearing a different mask or costume, as well as his character.
Terror Train?
Correct.
Yes. David Copperfield
Yes.
shit.
I
He's
forgot
in
to.
that, right? David Copperfield?
Yep, that's right.
Yes. I forgot to mention Totally Killer. And Totally Killer, the mask the killer wears looks exactly like Beavis. Beavis and Butthead.
Does it?
So,
All right, this one might be a little too hard, but you know what? Fuck y'all. All right. We reviewed this film.
Ooh.
What is the name of Caleb's little sister, who the vampire Homer has a crush on and kidnaps in the movie Near Dark from 1987?
oh.
I have no idea.
Homer kidnaps his sister and takes her to the motel room to watch TV.
Rose.
Great movie.
It's a great movie.
I don't remember though.
Her name is Sarah.
Sarah.
Near Dark, best vampire film of all time. Let's
You
find
know
out.
how we're very good with character names.
I know.
Yes, so character names. Yeah,
I gotta fuck you guys over somehow.
It's our specialty.
All right. My last one tonight. 3 letterbox reviews. Guess the movie. For the good of humanity, we need more Thanksgiving slashers.
Okay.
All right. This movie was really hard to find, which is a shame because it's actually pretty entertaining.
I'm gonna go Poltergeist.
Incorrect.
That's your go-to today.
is.
There's just so many options, yeah.
And then finally, Justine, one of my favorite modern final girls.
Justine. I mean, that's the giveaway, right?
Yes.
Is it that movie you like, Pilgrim?
No, but Pilgrim is great for you
Oh, I gotta-
looking for
No, it's not. It is
Thanksgiving
not
horror.
great.
Is it Christy?
It is Christy.
Yeah.
Nice shot, fucker.
And I
I
didn't
was
see
gonna
it.
say,
so.
I was gonna say he's next after that.
All right. Last trivia for the night. It is guess the movie based off the letterbox reviews.
All right.
First review is my review.
Oh.
You guys didn't review it,
Yeah.
so I couldn't use you
No.
guys.
Tell me
I'll
what it is
begin
real
by-
quick, I'll review it, and then
I'll begin by saying I'm not a fan of films that feature rape. So right away, I was turned off by the film in the first few minutes. It does have a few interesting moments and some decent gore, but overall, I didn't like this. The way the girls were handled in captivity made no sense. At first, they're tied up, and then they're just let loose to walk around. Makes no fucking sense. Glad I finally watched this one, but I will not be revisiting this. Next one. You know, I usually love Trauma, but this is a nope from me. Maybe a bit too grimy even for my tastes. Would not recommend or watch again.
That's a curveball.
Next one. Death by inflatable boob was not on my bingo card.
Is it Terror Firmer?
Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers?
You're both wrong. So you could both go again. My last one.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a trauma film. Walks a Strange Line. Definitely not a casual watch. Of course, it's Eli Roth's favorite movie. Funny and cruel.
Oh.
Eli Roth, huh?
Yes. Favorite film. It's not his film.
Right.
Yeah, admittedly, my trauma knowledge is pretty bare bones. I don't know.
There's probably people yelling out there. I feel like there's probably, if you're a huge trauma guy, that's probably obvious.
Wrong.
Yeah, again, I don't, nothing.
Yeah. So my theme tonight was holidays that are not Christmas or Halloween, and this one was called Mother's Day.
I've never seen that one.
Really?
I've heard it's good though. Well,
Yeah.
I've heard some people say it's good.
Yeah.
I know you clearly didn't like it.
No.
All right. Well, 2 for Steve, 1 for Joel and myself, which brings our standings to Stephen Lee with 15, Joe second place 12, myself 10. Y'all don't get the yearly update.
Oh, I am 1 away from Joseph on the year. So
we got 5 episodes left.
Yeah, something like that.
Well, we'll see.
Getting down to the nitty gritty.
And we don't ever do trivia on the year-end episode too. So, or do we record that one after?
We don't.
Years?
Usually it's after.
It's right after. Yeah, it's like right after the year ends, but we usually don't, unless like we're in a maybe tied situation. Then maybe we would do like a final trivia.
Awesome. Cool.
Alrighty. Well, that leads us to our main event of the evening, 2023's Thanksgiving, directed by Mr. Eli Roth, starring McDreamy himself, the sexiest man alive, Patrick Dempsey, also starring Gina Gershon, and many others. Todd, take us away. Give us our plot synopsis.
Certainly. Straight from Letterboxd, we have, after a Black Friday riot ends in tragedy, a mysterious Thanksgiving-inspired killer terrorizes Plymouth, Massachusetts, the birthplace of the holiday. Picking off residents one by one, what begins as random revenge killings are soon revealed to be part of a larger, sinister holiday plan. First question I have before I get into more of the details here. Joe, how accurate were these accents here?
Actually, pretty accurate, I would say. Like, these are like, most Massachusetts Boston accents are like really over exaggerated, but Eli Roth, being from Massachusetts, obviously knows how to do it right. I will say there are probably several references that went over your head that only people from around here would get.
Okay, cool. So we start off the movie where it's we're at Thanksgiving dinner, which I actually thought was a really clever scene. We see it from 2 families' perspectives. One, playback Rick Hoffman, who I incorrectly guessed was the killer from the trailer. He was, oh wait, spoiler. But anyway, whatever. Yeah, anyway, about 2023 films, when we talk about brand new ones, we're going to spoil them. So if you want to continue listening and be spoiled, and watch. But Rick Hoffman, I thought he was the killer. He was not. But he's the owner of the local big box store, and he's like, yeah, I'm opening up on Thanksgiving night because fuck them, we're gonna make more money. And then we transfer over to another family where he, like, the manager of the store is like, oh man, I gotta go in because fucking dickhead boss opened up the store. The other dude called off. So eventually we get to this store. Patrick Dempsey's a cop, whatever. He's doing crowd control, and it's just insane. Look at the videos you've seen online, like Steve mentioned, Joe mentioned earlier, times 10, right? There's like a budding riot. We see a group of kids that, like, the popular kids are in football, things like that. They roll up. They see a rival school that they just got in a fight with earlier. They're talking shit back and forth, blah, blah, blah. Everyone wants to get into the store, but like a couple security guards are holding them back. Long story short, the mob breaks in and multiple people are killed. and it's a little suspicious because the CCTV surveillance footage goes dark, even though it was working right away or right when they started. So a bunch of people are killed. Flash forward a year later, and the owner of the store, Rick Hoffman, is trying to like rebuild his like image, like, "Hey, I'm a family guy. We're helping the town." Turns out one of the girl's boyfriends, the main character girl in here, Jessica, her boyfriend was like a star pitcher, but in the Black Friday riot, his hand and wrist is fucking smashed, and now he can't pitch baseball no more. And he ghosts her for a year, so we don't know anything about him. Is he the killer? I don't know. Also, in that scene, we have a guy named Ryan who kind of likes her. Is he the killer? I don't know. We'll find out. So a year later, and people start getting bumped off that had something to do with the riot. There's a viral video out there that's making the rounds, filmed by one of our characters, showing like people being killed, and like the hashtag subscribe, like smash the like button, things like that. And basically what we do now in society. And then someone is bumping off these characters that has something to do with it, like I said, and we're trying to ride along with the characters. Patrick Dempsey, the cop. We got Jessica, who's the main chick. Her boyfriend's missing, like I said. She's got this new one that no one likes. We got drug dealers. We got a dude that sells fucking firearms. We got a party going on. We got a nerd kid that writes papers for one of the football stars. We got the main football player. He's a baller. We got so many fucking characters in this movie that no one is going to get any fleshing out because there's too many people to choose from. Right off the bat, though, I was really into this film, man. I had a lot of fun with it. It's not something that is rewriting the genre, but it's definitely something that I think is returning Eli Roth to form. Just make a fun movie with fucking great gore and violence, and exactly what he did. And I liked it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree. Sometimes just doing it simple is the way to go. And I think with not a lot of options for Thanksgiving horror movies, like this was a treat, like to finally get something that is worthy of being able to watch, I think, yearly. I think the intro to this movie is contender for like maybe my favorite scene of the entire year. Like the fucking Black Friday rampage scene is amazing. It is so fucking good. It's just crazy, like over the top ridiculousness. My biggest complaint in the past with Roth has always been his juvenile comedy. Like the biggest thing that comes to me is like the Green Inferno, like shitting scene, like stuff like that. Just stuff that was just like so unnecessary. But like you can tell how much sort of he's, I guess, grown as like a director, because like his mix of comedy and horror here I thought was like perfect. Like and it really shows in this opening Black Friday scene, like when the dude gets his fucking throat cut like with the glass, and then he fucking still manages to go over there and grab the waffle iron, like bleeding out, dying. I was like dying laughing. Like it was so good. Yeah, I mean, it's just dumb. It's just dumb fun, man. Like the whole movie is just really dumb fun. Turn off your brain, enjoy the ride. My biggest complaint was the amount of characters, right? Like there wasn't like any time to flesh out any of these characters. So they're just kind of there. Like you don't really give a shit about any of them or what any of their fate is. So that would be my biggest complaint. Like it's just like at the end of the day, it is just sort of a paint by numbers slasher. There's nothing really new here or interesting, but it's still just like I still had so much fun watching it.
Yeah, I echo a lot of what you guys said. I think it was a really fun movie. It was nice to finally get like a proper Black Friday attack at the beginning of the film, because when we watched Black Friday a few years ago and it was like really tame, and then Krampus had a decent one, but this one finally took it to the level where like a horror fan would enjoy it. I absolutely love that scene. The kills in general in this film are really, really fun. They're creative, they're gory as hell. There's some really good ones in this film that I appreciate the hell out of that. There are a few moments in the film, just random little moments that I enjoyed so much. Like there's a cat, like there's a scene where there's a cat in the scene, and the killer kind of disposes of the person, and then the cat is like near his food bowl, and he kind of looks over at the cat. And most films he would probably kill the cat or do something, but no, he feeds the cat, pets it, and then leaves. I love like little moments like that. It's just kind of I don't know, it was just funny in a like not a overly comedic way. My issue with it is kind of like what Joe said. I didn't super care for a lot of the characters. Some of the subplots were completely unneeded to me, like the kind of the three-way thing that they had going on, like the love triangle. it wasn't that interesting to me, and I didn't care about it. I didn't care for the boyfriend. I didn't really care for the other dude either, so I didn't give a shit. And they harped so much on that relationship that just like it was boring me at times. And the kills were amazing when they came, but sometimes there were long periods where there really wasn't that much going on. It was a lot of chatter, but that really wasn't leading anywhere interesting. And my final issue is that I didn't particularly love the reveal at the end because I thought it was too obvious. Like, if you have seen any horror movie and you're watching it, you're probably going to know who the killer is. And it's just, it didn't do anything fun or special, in my opinion. But I still enjoyed the movie overall.
Yeah, see, I didn't guess the killer. Are you saying you guessed the killer was Patrick Dempsey, Steve?
Yeah, it's based off the fact that it's Patrick Dempsey. It's like,
Yeah. So,
it's like a guy with a red shirt in a Star Trek episode. You just know.
so my opinion, like, I thought he did a great job with a lot of red herrings in here, and I wrote down some lists here. We got the deputy, right, who's obviously, like you already said, the store owner and the store manager, because the store manager is like laid out to be the bad guy, even though that was a little bit too on the nose. The high school pitcher that goes missing for a year, and the new boyfriend, I thought they would have been good killers. Also, there was a weird scene too where the deputy, the bigger guy, he goes in and Patrick Dempsey's like, "Hey, do you know the detective's?" Like, "Yeah, we know each other." I'm like, are they either lovers or are they dual killers? And I thought there was a lot of signs that pointed to this movie having two killers. In the opening scene, someone turns off, or someone's in the security room, and it can't be Patrick Dempsey. He's out in the crowd. So I'm like, where is this coming from? Like, is it a movie mistake that the dude that attacks the girl in the restaurant is a small person, smaller than Patrick Dempsey? Is that just a stuntman problem, or is that like, I was like, oh, this is a different killer now? Like, so I thought maybe that we had two killers, and I was really hoping for one, because I agree. I didn't think Patrick Dempsey's reveal or motive was fleshed out or done well enough. I think the better film, personally, is if we're gonna have a main cast of high school kids, which no one cared about because, like everyone said already, they weren't fleshed out, and we're gonna have that love triangle. I think that she should have been like a bitch character, and having the pitcher, the baseball pitcher, and then the dork kind of guy, like vying for her attention in the opening scene. So it makes it like easier, like, to betray her later on. Where I think that both the boyfriend characters should have been dual killers, in my opinion. I think it would have been a better film. Plus, we have to see, like, the killer has to know what's going on. That's why that one blonde chick is killed, because she's going to go to Florida, so he has to kill her next. So it would have been awesome to have the fucking boyfriends, whatever, join forces to just pick off these people because they don't like them.
I mean, I personally agree with Todd. I did not see Patrick Dempsey as the killer. I mean, I know he's obviously the reason probably why he took the role. Like, obviously, like, if I'm gonna do this, like, I want to be like the biggest character in the movie, which is fine. I mean, Patrick Dempsey's awesome, so I got no problem with that. And he does a good job here. I mean, I think his motives make sense, right? Like, he was having an affair with Gina Gershon's character, and she was pregnant, right? So, like, they did kill his family. So I could see why he would want revenge on the kids that essentially started this riot, right? They're the ones that sneak into the store and be little assholes taunting these people to come into the store. Had they not done that, I don't think this would have ever happened. So to me, like, the motive makes sense, but the reveal, I agree, was like lacking a little bit.
Yeah, it was almost PowerPoint presentation type of situation again, where it's like as soon as he's revealed, there's this whole speech about the plan and how it all worked out, and this is why I used you in this way. It's just like, goddamn, just pull out the fucking projector and explain it to us, please. It's just one of those situations I didn't super love.
Yeah, Eli Roth does another thing I don't like, and Joe mentioned his kind of juvenile comedy, but something I noticed from his films too is, like, he has to put something in that explains a character's motive later on in the film, but it's shoehorned in like crazy. For example, in Hostel, what's his name? Both lead characters, they're backpacking, and these guys are supposed to be best friends for fucking years, right? And he's like, yeah, there was a drowning, and I should have saved him, and I would have jumped into the pool, but I was afraid. I'm like, oh, so now he's gonna fucking be justified to say something later, and then an hour later he hears someone screaming in the hostel, and even though he escaped, he goes back to save her. He does the same exact thing in this film, where it's a throwaway stupid line that's forced in, where the girl's watching someone with a black powder rifle, and she's like, oh yeah, my dad taught me how to do that. it's scary and I don't like it. I'm like, oh, she's gonna shoot someone with a black powder rifle later, and exactly what she does to get rid of the killer at the end there. I'm like, dude, just fucking do something else. Don't telegraph it. I don't know if you guys caught that, but I'm like, he did it again with Hostel. Now this.
What do you guys think of John Carver? Like the John Carver look? I I don't know. I think they could have did better, right? Like the mask was cool, I suppose. Like it was cool, right, for a Thanksgiving movie, but the outfit was lacking. It was literally just a black jumpsuit. Now, I did read online some people are saying, well, it's like kind of a wink at this is like Thanksgiving, but like Halloween, but in Thanksgiving. So they did the black jumpsuit to as kind of an homage to Halloween. Well, Michael Myers. I mean, so I guess that makes sense if that's what they were going for. But I don't know. I feel like why not wear like a full pilgrim outfit, right? Like, I mean, that would have made more sense. Like the black jumpsuit wasn't doing it for me, but I did love like obviously the burnt mask look when that finally happens. I thought that was a cooler look, and I really loved when he even wore the Thanksgiving apron around him. Like I thought like when they kind of added little additions to the costume, it was cool, but like in general, I wish kind of they did a little more with the costuming for him.
I think the problem is that they want to give you the illusion that he's changing in and out of the costume really quickly, and getting into a pilgrim costume is probably not something that you can just do quickly, and that's kind of maybe a Scream homage in some way with Ghostface, where you can be in and out of character like without being noticed, right? So I think that was the whole point of having a simple character. So in that sense, I didn't mind that it looked just kind of plain. I did like the mask though. I thought that was a really cool thing, and I liked that they showed who's giving out the mask and why people have a ton of masks out there, and it kind of explains why there are so many in the parade, for example, that have the mask. Another issue I have though is that his plan is to have all the bodies for like a Thanksgiving dinner, and part of me kind of wishes that he just succeeded in this plan, and the last scene, which would have been the reveal, is him sitting at the head of the table, takes off the mask, and then just kind of smirks at the camera as he's eating dinner with all the bodies. I am kind of bummed that they kind of ruined that plan by fucking around. Some of them were alive for whatever reason, and some of them were half torsos and one head on a plate. It could have been such a fucking cool scene where he had actually completed his plan, and it would have been different than a lot of slasher films. Whereas this kind of went into these typical person gets away and on this big scene, but the killer is maybe not dead, and it's just, I don't know, it went too much in familiar territory for me.
That's a great point, because that would have been awesome. And like that brings me to the point of, did Roth hold back a little bit here, right? Like the gore is like solid, but you look back to that trailer he made, that fake trailer he made 16 years ago, and you get the trampoline scene, but you don't get it like you did in they could have did something fucking crazy there, right? Like where she fucking does the split onto the knife. Like I was expecting that and it didn't happen, and I was disappointed. And she also doesn't get naked, which was another disappointing part, which she does in the trailer. But I'm like, man, like why didn't he do that? And then like even in the fucking trailer, like isn't there like fucking someone fucking a turkey at the end of it or something
Yeah.
like that? Like why
There's
didn't we get like batshit like why didn't he go batshit crazy like he did in the trailer? Like I feel like he did dial it back slightly. I mean, he brought the gore, but as far as like other fucked up shit he could have did, I feel like he could have did a little better.
I agree. And as much as I like this film, I was still disappointed by what you just mentioned too. And I wanted the trailer as a feature film. I wanted the time period. I love the fucking look of it, the feel of it. I hate cell phones in modern horror. It's just like it takes me out of it because there's so many ways to get out of situations when you have cell phones now. So I thought it would have been really cool to just have that throwback to what you mentioned. And I still like the trampoline scene. I think it was pretty brutal, her jumping on it and getting stabbed multiple times. But yeah, like an 80s slasher, like just it sucks that like we didn't even get like a couple making out in the car, like on like a makeout point, like in the trailer. And it's so funny, like she's giving him a BJ in the trailer, and then head gets cut off, right? And then another boyfriend comes and they start making out, and then he gets killed. It's like it would have been so cool if they went that way. I agree.
Yeah, I agree. The trailer should have been essentially the trailer for this movie, but made with different actors, because obviously the film was made like 15 years ago, so it makes sense to change the people. But it should have been that. And but to talk some good stuff about the movie, what were some of your favorite kills? Because there's definitely a few that were pretty gnarly.
A lot of the kills are freaking really cool, man. I think the most brutal was the oven scene where he's cooking her in there. I'm like, man, this is fucking awful. Which leads to a really cool reveal, which is in the trailer too, of the human turkey on the on the TV, which is fucking really cool. Honestly, probably where the grandpa gets like the spear in the back of his head and his grandkids get all the blood all over him. That was a really cool scene. I think all the kills were really cool.
Yeah, agreed. I think most of the kills were all like really cool. I mean, the Black Friday scene, like Gina Gershon's death is pretty brutal. Like I really loved that one when she fucking gets her head ripped off by the shopping carts. That was great. But I gotta go with Todd. Those other two, like the oven scene. As far as brutality, the oven scene just like made my skin go, oh, like I could just feel that like burning sensation. But as far as best gore scene, definitely the shit going through the grandfather's head, which we could, after Steve talked, we got to get into that whole parade scene because that is just an amazing scene.
I got one more before Steve gives his. I really like the dumpster with the waitress. So fucking cool when the car hits it and it cuts her in half, and then he mounts her on the fucking sign. That was really cool.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing for me. The turkey kill is cool, but I kind of wish they reserved that for the end, because it's Thanksgiving. That should have been the final kill of the film. But again, we won't harp on all that again. I agree that the car kill was the one that I liked the most. Even see the kind of the nose displaced because it's like right in the middle of his face. Super fucking well done. And like Todd said, the one with the dumpster just came out of nowhere. Like I didn't expect it to be that gory, and I really like that. It's that was a really cool kill as well. So he did a good job with the kills. I just kind of wish there was more, to be honest, because they do a lot of it kind of early on, and then it kind of stops for a long time, and it's too bad because I thought it would be more of a gore fest, I guess.
Yeah, too many characters survived this.
Yeah,
Way too many
right.
characters.
I thought that's why they had so many characters. When I saw
Yeah.
that the friend group was so big, I'm like, great, these are just like people to kill, and
Yeah, because
too many of them survive.
we had the nerdy kid that hangs out with like the pothead / gun dealer. They
Yeah.
survived. We had football player. He survived. We had the new boyfriend survive. Like a lot of characters in any other movie, all these characters die except the lead chick.
Which makes no sense because why does he keep those two characters alive at the table? Why aren't they dead? Why aren't they on spikes?
Especially like this big motherfucker. Like you don't want him alive to break out.
It didn't make sense.
Yeah, it's weird. I feel like a lot of this was, well, I mean, it's obviously it's his vision, but I think a lot of the stuff is on the cutting room floor. Like I think a lot of stuff was cut out, but them living, yeah, no sense whatsoever. But the security guard dies.
Right. Yeah.
Like come on.
Yeah. I want to get into, we were just talking about it, but the parade scene, like, man, like, see, this is something that worked so well in the trailer. Like you get a piece of it in the trailer and he fucking brings it to perfection. I think in this movie, it's just so good. Like, did you like the choice of it not being John Carver and that he was in the crazy clown outfit? Like that was sort of another, right, like red herring, like surprise moment. I didn't mind it. I thought it was cool. I also don't know if it was paying homage to I Know What You Did Last Summer because I felt like it was like beat for beat, almost the exact same scene. And I Know What You Did Last Summer where she's on the parade float and she's looking out for all the fishermen, would keep popping up. And it's like the same thing in this, all the people in the John Carver masks. So I don't know if it was like an homage to that, if Eli Roth like loves that movie or something, but I was getting big vibes on that. But then obviously all hell breaks loose with the killer clown. I want to hear you guys' thoughts on it.
It makes sense because they're obviously looking for John Carver, and he would know that, right? As being the chief of police or sheriff or whatever he is. So it makes sense that he wouldn't be John Carver in that particular scene because it would be just too obvious, and they were actively making like those people disappear, right? You can see him come from the float. So I thought it was good. It would have been stupid if he had just been John Carver and somehow slipped through the cracks. It would have been weird.
I'm gonna give the opposite view. I think it would have been cooler if he was John Carver and every fucking bystander was in that same costume, kind of like how Scream does it. You know what I mean? Where like you're in the Scream theater and everyone's wearing a Scream costume, or in the subway in the last movie, which is a really cool scene. Everyone screams, so like who the fuck is the killer? He could have like got into the crowd easy and slunk away. But as cool as I thought that was beheading the fucking turkey was awesome, and the grandpa kill and everything, I wanted more, man. Like more. We have so many potential victims. Like let's get it going. But honestly, with modern horror, like it's hard to pull off these these massive things because there's fucking 30 cops in that crowd. You know what I mean? It's gonna be over and done with. So you kind of have to go smaller in this sense. But I still loved it when he beheaded that fucking turkey guy.
But it could have been a comedy of errors. Like, it didn't have to be him killing everyone. It could have been the floats going kind of crazy and then starting to kill people like it did for that guy in a car. So, like, think of what was it, Ghost Ship, that
Yeah.
with that fucking wire. Like, it could have been just something that he started, that the chain of events killed a bunch of people.
That's a good
And
point.
I kind of echo your sentiment too, and that's something that kind of bums me about Black Friday. I thought they cut it too early. There were so many victim possibilities in there of just, it didn't even have to be death, but of more people fighting and everything. They kind of ended that scene abruptly, and I kind of wish there was a little bit more to it.
Yeah, it was a little goofy too, where he flashbangs the car and then manages to like kidnap them all in broad daylight. Like, come on.
Yeah, I guess that's the first hint that it's a cop, right? Like, then I guess that to most people would be the giveaway. I still didn't see it coming, but I guess that does make sense, like why he was using all of sort of the police tactical gear and stuff. I don't know. It just felt a little out of place for me, like compared to like all the rest of the stuff he kind of does in the movie. But it was a great scene, so
Yeah,
I didn't hate it.
yeah. Honestly, I still think this would have been a better two-killer movie. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I thought being a one-man show, it was not plausible, all the stuff he was able to accomplish.
Yeah, I mean it's a great point. I was thinking two killers too for a lot of time. Like obviously I don't know. I was a little confused by like when that kid was in the costume. Like I assume like he attacked. What was going on there? Because like
Which part?
when so towards the end when she escapes the Thanksgiving dinner scene, we find Patrick Dempsey's character like
Oh,
bludgeoned,
yeah.
and then she goes and she looks and she sees the kid in the costume, and we're to assume that it's the boyfriend character, right? Her
It's a
new
baseball
boyfriend.
player.
Yeah, no, not. Oh, yeah, it is the base.
The
Yeah,
old
you're
one,
right. The
yeah.
old boyfriend. Yeah, the kid who broke his arm is
Mhm.
there, and we are to assume it's him. But then it's like it's kind of like
There's
I feel like they didn't explain it well, and I was like, oh wait, are there two killers now?
there's he explains it briefly.
Okay.
He says he was going to he dressed him up and he was going to execute him and then pin the murders on him. But he broke out and tire ironed him in the face, and then everything lined up perfectly for them to arrive at that location.
Okay, I definitely missed that little expo dump.
It was in the presentation, Joe. You should have.
I missed
The
I missed
slide
the
30.
slideshow. I missed that
Yeah.
part of the slideshow. Yes.
That's funny.
All
How do you guys
right.
feel about the final showdown though in the little float factory, whatever you want to call it?
It was okay, right? Like I kind of agree with Steve. I think they should have that could have maybe been earlier, like, and he gets away or something. Like you still could have had the turkey explode, right? And like he survived. But I think the final scene should have been the Thanksgiving dinner table scene. Like it's the movie's Thanksgiving. Like it just makes too much sense. Like that being the final scene, it was just okay for me. Like I didn't love it. I just thought it was like a little lackluster for me personally.
It felt too generic for me.
Yeah.
Like, it just, yeah, there was nothing special about it. Sure, that giant turkey explosion was cool, but it was nothing overly special. There's just yeah, I was kind of bummed out by it, to be honest. It wasn't that good to me.
Yeah, it's mirror 100% lackluster. And one of the cops is like, no one could have survived that explosion. But we look and there's like the building's fine. Like helium, I guess, explodes on contact or whatever, but it's like, I don't know. You guys mentioned it. It's by the books. It's standard. We're gonna have a sequel because this guy wasn't found, which I love fucking Steve's idea of having the end of it. He fucking wins. Or we don't even know who the killer is. That's even cool too. Like he never takes the mask off, he just starts snacking. But like for him to like, really, he's gonna disappear from this fireball explosion we know he wasn't killed during. And then yeah, that's where it lost me, was that final 20 minutes or so, because I honestly was loving it. Everything else.
Yeah, I agree. We didn't need to know who it was. If he sat down at a table and they pulled a halo where they like cut right like under his chin so you don't see his face, but you see him take off the mask and start eating like
Dope.
that would have been amazing. And
Like
it's
Hellfest.
different. Yeah.
When some random fucker goes back to home and hugs his daughter, and it's like,
which is what we all loved about it,
Yeah.
was that it was different, right? It didn't have the normal slasher trope, and yeah.
So where do we go from here? Like, they set it up for a sequel. Are you guys excited for a sequel? Do you want this franchise? Do you want this to become a franchise?
Is this making money? I haven't checked.
It didn't do great. So
10.2 million, I think.
it made 12 million worldwide. From what I read, it would have to make about 30 million to start profiting. So
it's not great.
Not great. It didn't do great. Yeah. I mean, it will probably at least break even, might make a minimal profit. So I mean, if they do a sequel, might not get to theaters. It might get, a streaming type thing,
which might be better for everybody.
Could be. Yeah.
I think with holiday horror, especially, people are just going to watch it every year, and they're going to rent it every year. They're going to buy the Blu-ray. They're going to, so I think it's going to have legs. So I'm not worried about it making its budget back. For a sequel, though, that I don't know. But I feel they can make this movie for cheaper too. They can make this for like 4 million. They don't need a $30 million budget for this movie.
You don't even need Patrick Dempsey. You could have killed him off and just made
someone else takes the mantle. Yeah.
Well, I was the guy in line that didn't get a fucking waffle iron. I'm gonna rampage.
That lies the problem, right? Sort of, because like Patrick Dempsey's our killer. So if you're going to make sequels, do you have to bring him back, or can you find like a protege, I guess?
I mean, since he went missing, that's like
he commands a lot of money, right? So like I can't imagine he's coming back for the sequels.
And now he's world's sexiest man, or sexiest man alive.
Now he's going to command even more money now. Into that.
Fuck. But I'll tell you what though, like I'm definitely getting the NECA figure of this. Like I'm getting that fucking thing. And I'm getting the Blu-ray, whatever they put out, because it was fun, man. And I off the top of my head, like a true slasher like this, like we don't get these that often anymore.
Yeah, they get the mask too, NECA.
Oh, do they? Cool.
It's like a t-shirt mask combo for $30. Yeah,
that's cool.
It's pretty cool. I'm sure you'll start seeing a lot of John Carver's popping up at horror cons. It's a very easy cosplay to do, so that'll be a fun one as well.
Patrick Dempsey at HorrorCons, though. Is that
no? You never know. Maybe. I'm sure the guy who did the stunt double work will end up at HorrorCons.
He's probably already at HorrorCon.
Yeah, he has actually already been announced, I think, for one.
One of the Boo's at HorrorCons. This guy's at HorrorCons.
It happens every time now. Like as soon as a horror movie comes out, they announce like some random person that was in it.
Yeah, they just announced the Exorcist girls from the new one are doing them now too.
Yeah,
so.
They did a consignment like right before the movie came out.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen, we all done? You ready to rate this sucker?
Sure.
All right, I'll start us off. Yeah, I mean, overall, it's fun, right? Like, it's one I'll watch around Thanksgiving every year. It's one of the best ones, probably the best one since Blood Rage. Is it better than Blood Rage? I don't know. I'd have to rewatch Blood Rage and compare and contrast the two, but it's definitely one of the better slashers to come out. Is it the best slasher of the year, though? I don't know. Maybe not. Scream 6 is up there for me as well. So it's good, dumb fun. Turn off your brain. Have a good time with it. There's issues, though, right? It's still a paint-by-the-numbers slasher movie. They didn't reinvent the wheel. I think they could have did more with it, but it's still a very good movie. And probably something that will end up maybe cracking my top 10. So I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5.
All right, I'm going to be a little bit more generous with it. I love Eli Roth. Cabin Fever and Hostel 2 are phenomenal in my opinion. And I appreciate that he's returning to form, making fun movies. And I love slasher movies. So one of my favorite genres, next to zombies. I loved this movie until we got to the reveal and that whole section. I was like, man, this is fucking my number 1 of the year. Let's go. And then it kind of happened like that. I was like, oh, we're getting a little bit lazy. We have too many characters. Why is the one girl's dad a Russian dude? Why is that even a fucking point in this film? Doesn't make any sense. But I still had a really good time with this. I'm at a freaking 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot too, but it did have some issues. And I will watch it again because, like you said, not a lot of whole Thanksgiving horror to watch. So this is a perfectly good one to put on. I'm with Joe, 3.5 out of 5. Probably won't make my top 10. It's close, but probably won't make it there. But it's definitely one people should at least check out, I think.
All righty. Good stuff, gentlemen. All right, that is going to wrap it up for this episode. We hope you enjoyed our review of Thanksgiving. Steve, what do we got next week?
we have American Psycho, and our returning guest, Missy, is coming back to join us to talk American Psycho. So I'm pretty psyched. We talk a lot about American Psycho on this show.
We do.
So it's about fucking time, I think, that we review it. So it should
Let's
be
see
a fun
Paul
episode.
Allen's card.
Yeah.
I saw on, I forget where I saw it, but someone did Patrick Bateman's skin and workout routine for like a month,
Oh, really?
and like his skin was fucking glowing and shit. He's like, damn, this shit works.
That's
Oh.
awesome. All right. Well, if you want to hear us talk all things American Psycho next week, definitely tune in. But in the meantime, you can follow us on any of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Threads. Just search the Horror Squad Podcast. You can also email us anytime, the Horror Squad Podcast at gmail.com. And of course, the absolute best way to keep up with the podcast is our Discord. Just send us a DM through our socials or an email, and we will get you a link to our Discord. Amazing community over there. Movie club every month. A lot of behind the scenes stuff. So definitely join that. I know Movie Club got moved December 1st. Do we know what we're watching yet, Steve?
No, we're going to put it up to a vote on the Discords, and that vote will be coming up very soon.
All right. So Movie Club December 1st. Check that out as well. And I think that's about it. Merch. Don't forget merch, tpublic.com. Just search the Horror Squad Podcast. A lot of fun designs over there. More to come. Also, don't forget, leave us a 5-star review if you haven't already on any of your favorite podcast apps. That definitely helps the podcast the most if you can do that. And lastly, don't forget, stick around for our interview with
Bill DeWitt and Nicholas Michael McGovern from the film Liberty.
All right. So stick around for that interview, and we will see you guys next week. Once again, have a very happy Thanksgiving. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Horror Squad Podcast, where today we have two special guests to promote the new film Liberty, which comes out on digital November 21st. Writer-director Philip DeWitt and the star of the film, Nicholas Michael McGovern. Welcome to the show.
Come, everybody.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, thank you. Can you tell our listeners what the movie is about?
So, in few words, Liberty is a movie where freedom is at the heart of the movie. It's whether animal or human, in wildlife or in our city, loss of freedom has a profound impact. So, Liberty exposes the suffering of wild animal in captivity. It is a true thriller.
Excellent. Philip, what was your inspiration when writing this story?
I feel that I received the inspiration. Sometimes it's difficult to say what you mean by receive, but this is what we are here with a limited time period, and as a filmmaker, I was convinced that I had to do something, and giving my experience, my knowledge to speak about those who suffer in silence, that makes sense for me.
Okay. Nicholas, you play characters both doing something bad, but also felt fully justified in his actions. What helped you get in the frame of mind to play this character?
There was a lot of work leading up to production and then in production, but Matt for me was always very representative of this sort of archetype that we see ravaging particularly the United States, these sort of young, disenfranchised, violent white men who feel unheard and unseen. We saw it most recently with the shooting in Maine, and
right.
And obviously, these types feel that their message is paramount, right, to any sort of actions that they undertake to get that message across, and that all is justified. So it was a pretty deep dive into that psychology, and I researched some of the things you probably expect, extremist psychology and paranoid personality disorder and childhood trauma. And you're not looking to define the person, but you're just looking for little bits of a bouquet, I guess, to sort of assemble someone and try and create an honest interior life, and representation of what was a very complicated and complex human.
Great. Now, Philip, the barn had some great moments, but I really love the outdoor shots, which were absolutely beautiful. Where was the film shot, and was it a deliberate choice to have such a beautiful setting in contrast to the depressing barn?
So, I mean, yeah, the thing is that, I mean, we shot in the amazing landscape in the national parks in Canada, near Calgary, but all the shooting, I mean, inside the barn has been done in Brussels in Belgium.
Okay. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, they're absolutely beautiful locations in this, and yeah, Calgary is a great, great place for that, for the mountains and everything.
Mm.
Nicholas, you play opposite a number of other actors that your characters essentially, in a way, torturing throughout the film. What was the vibe on set, and how was it working with the rest of the cast?
What was the vibe? That's interesting. It was very collaborative. Philippe's a wonderful facilitator of um, conversation. We had a really fruitful rehearsal process where I think everybody felt heard and seen. My colleagues took this message in this film seriously, and so I think a lot of what the experience was, or the vibe was reflective of what they were kind of experiencing in the cage. And I think that's what a lot of independent filmmaking is, right? It can be a little chaotic, but controlled chaos and very intentional. Everyone, it it's not such a hard thing to commit to, especially for them, and they're all, you're right, just tremendous. When they're covered in soot and rolling around in a cage all day, I think a lot of the work is done for them, truly. And Phil was always a wonderful facilitator too of vibe, so to speak, on set. He was a great, facilitator of tone. I remember, Phil, you used some wonderful music. I think our first day on set when we were shooting some of the stuff in solitary confinement, and that was really helpful. So the vibe is what it needed to be, for this to ring true, and to sort of have a lived experience of what Matt was putting these people through.
Okay, great. Now, Philip, this film has a very powerful message behind it. Was that an important part of why you wanted to make this film?
Yes, just to say to the people that life is so precious, and as a citizen of the world, each of us, we have a specific role in the protection of the fragility of life, and I think that is the main message of the movie. If it is done through a thriller, but I think liberty conveys the message that all life on earth is precious, I think. Yeah.
Right, absolutely. And Nicholas, what was your biggest takeaway from working on this project?
My biggest takeaway, that's hard. It's different when you find yourself inside and you're sort of responsible for the moment to moment interior life and psychology of someone who is integral to sort of the telling of a message, right? To this these universal themes that Phil is talking about. And I think the main takeaway maybe for me is the best way to serve the message of a film essentially as the sort of integral character and narrator of those themes. Your responsibility still lies in that moment to moment honesty, when you're acting in between and doing whatever, it remains the same, even with a message as clear and poignant and important as the one that Liberty portrays. Your job remains the same as an actor. So I think that was a good takeaway and a good lesson.
Excellent. This movie, now we're a horror podcast, so I do have to ask a little bit about kind of the horror aspect of this. Is this a genre that both of you would like to continue working in, or was this just kind of a product of the story you were telling this particular time? Because this is kind of a mix of horror and real life horror with what is in respect to the animals. So is this a genre that you would like to continue working on in your career?
For me, it depends the topic. What are we talking about? So for that movie, it makes sense for me, to show that the effects of captivity are the same for human as for animals. So if this is a genre that I would like to pursue, it will depend what will be the next movie. What's so difficult for me to answer. But what I found what was important for me is I could deliver the message for sure through a documentary, but I decided to go to a thriller because I think for the young audience it is much more easier to follow, or to deliver the messages. For the young audience. That was my feeling, and that is the main reason why I decided to make a thriller.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, so many interesting things are being done in horror right now. We're really seeing that genre bend. I mean, just look at Jordan Peele's work, for example, and it's amazing. Yes, this is the short answer to that. And I would have to second what Philippe said. You look at a movie like Hereditary, objectively terrifying, but also a movie about grief. And so I do think it's a medium or a genre rather that is really effective and has been historically in sort of exploring different important themes that we have to look at. Doing that classic thing that storytelling has always done from the dawn of time. Hundreds of years ago. Is putting up that mirror, and I think the horror genre is no exception to that. So yeah, of course.
Absolutely. And also a question for both of you. Can you tell our listeners where they can follow you on social media, or maybe the film on social media, so they can kind of find this film, track its progress, and see what's going on?
Yeah, well, you can't find me on social media. I'm off.
That's great. Actually, I'm super jealous in a way. Yeah, that's awesome.
I know. Whether or not that's detrimental to my personal life and career, is up for debate. But Liberty certainly has, is doing all the right stuff, and we have an Instagram page, and I believe a TikTok just launched as well. We're on Facebook,
Instagram, Facebook as well.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Philip and Nicholas, for coming on the show. Everyone, please go check out Liberty when it's released on November 21st on digital. It is really, I think, important film in a lot of ways that people need to check out, because it does have a great message in it. It's beautifully directed, and you did an absolutely great job starring in this. I felt that character's power. So thank you very much for coming on today.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Steve. Take care, man.